welcome to the SVG-TV News for Monday, January 24th. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. 2 new deaths have been recorded here, bringing the death toll from COVID-19 to 92. A 45-year-old female who tested positive on January 14th and was admitted to the isolation ward at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital died on Saturday of COVID-19 pneumonia. The other deceased is a 61-year-old female who tested positive for COVID-19 on January 16th and was admitted to the isolation ward at the hospital with underlying conditions. She died yesterday of COVID-19 pneumonia. Both patients were unvaccinated. Meanwhile, 8 new positive PCR cases were reported from 36 samples collected on Friday, resulting in a positivity rate of 22.2%. 19 rapid antigen positive results were also reported from flu clinics on Friday. 4 PCR positive cases were reported from 11 samples collected, resulting in a positivity rate of 36.4%. This was on Saturday. 20 new rapid antigen positive results were also reported on Saturday from flu clinics. The Health Services Subcommittee of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, said the COVID-19 testing algorithm based on WHO recommendations appropriate for this phase of the current outbreak reduces the number of RT-PCR tests conducted, relying primarily on rapid antigen tests and clinical diagnosis. No patient has been admitted for COVID-19 at the Argyle Isolation Facility. However, 23 patients were admitted to the COVID-19 ward at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. 5 of the admitted patients are vaccinated, 1 partially so, and 17 unvaccinated. 21 recoveries were noted over the reporting period. 872 cases are currently active. 6,660 cases of COVID-19 and 5,696 recoveries have been recorded in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since March 2020. Infectious disease specialist and member of the SVG COVID-19 task force, Dr. Gerald Thompson, on radio this morning outlined a number of complications that some persons who would have had COVID-19 are being faced with post-recovery.
At a good 15 to 20% of the people who've caught the virus develop some form of long COVID. Most people are asymptomatic at first or have a mild infection, and some 3 to 4 months after, they come down with some very strange symptoms. And so far, these symptoms, many of them are not going away.
Right.
And this is the silent post-epidemic features that's only been seen in doctors' offices. And the Ministry of Health has a lot of information on it. Countries, we know where the trends are, what's happening.
Right. Yes.
One of them is called brain fog. This is where persons have difficulty concentrating, thinking clearly. They lose a bit of their short-term memory. And they have difficulty completing very basic daily tasks. What they're finding now is that the virus has altered the spinal fluid. You're at risk of brain fog. You're at risk of scarring of the lungs. And let me add one more, because there's a whole long list of long COVID features. One of them is myocarditis.
When asked how does one distinguish between the flu virus and COVID-19, Dr. Thompson noted that it can be sometimes difficult identifying the virus a person might be carrying, and as a result, all cases are treated as COVID-19. Dr. Thompson is urging persons to continue with the washing and sanitizing of hands to prevent a further spread, as he believes that this year would be the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. A police raid carried out at the Owia Health Center on Saturday night reportedly resulted in the discovery of over 50 kilograms of cocaine. Reports are that 5 female health workers were taken into custody and are assisting police with their investigations into the findings. SVG-TV News understands that the drug bust at the health center may be part of a broader drug investigation. Earlier today, a young man from Owia was taken before the Serious Offences Court, charged for allegedly having in his possession at his home in Owia some 3.6 kilos or 7.9 pounds of cocaine, and for the purpose of drug trafficking. Rodney Thomas pleaded not guilty to the charges, and while the prosecutor objected to his bail, noting that the matter is still under investigation, the sitting magistrate, however, acceded to his lawyer's request to grant his client bail, telling the court Thomas posed no flight risk and that he comes from a good family who will ensure he abides by the rules of his bail. The 33-year-old was granted bail in the sum of $30,000 with one surety. He is also required to report to the Oya police station on Mondays and Thursdays between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and to surrender his passport, national identification card, and driver's license. The chief magistrate also ordered that stop notices be placed at all ports of entry and exit. The matter was adjourned to April 24th. And police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the shooting death of Joseph Pompey in Georgetown on Saturday. According to reports, Pompey, originally from Newgrounds, was shot and killed during an altercation with another man at his home in Georgetown, where he lived with his wife. The suspect is said to be in police custody and assisting with the investigation. Pompey is not new to the spotlight, as in 2003, he was charged with the Christmas Eve shooting death of Wade Durant, but acquitted in June 2004. His acquittal came after the late Justice Frederick Bruce Lyle upheld a no-case submission made by the late defense lawyer Nicole Sylvester. A 50-year-old man of Old Montrose is now homeless and blames himself for a fire that destroyed his two-bedroom dwelling home. As we hear in this report from Larissa Pugsley-Kidd, the man is, however, thankful for life as he narrowly escaped death.
Brian Cyrus went home after 9 p.m. on Sunday night. He did not know that it would be his last time lying on his bed, as his home was totally destroyed by fire. Cyrus said the fire started in his kitchen, noting that on his return from home, visiting some friends in the community, he decided to cook a pot of food. However, he felt tired and went to lie down, leaving the pot of food on the stove unattended.
I see macaroni was boiling. I go in my bedroom, which was in this section, the kitchen section over there. It's an extra bedroom here, and that was the drawing room. So I went in my bedroom watching some documentary on my phone. But eventually I fall asleep. And when I do catch myself, the kitchen was red, completely red.
According to Cyrus, he attempted to put the fire out, but the heat was unbearable. He said he received some burns about his body and that he was unable to save anything.
Here's my fridge, my tray set, and my bed, whatever necessary, my phone, everything gone. The clothes I save is what you see on the line where I washed yesterday and put on the line is hooked up to the house, to the lamp pole there.
The New Montrose resident who lived in the house for more than 50 years said that after escaping the fire, he wandered off helplessly.
Because when the fire really overcome me, it's like I just lose my mind. Yeah, I just lose my mind. And I don't know why I end up in town, to tell you the truth. To catch myself, a guy stopped me in bottom town and asked me, well, they just called me Shitty. He said, Shitty, where you going? I said, what mean where I'm going? He said, boy, you barefoot and you don't use it. Where you going? Where you been? When I come back on the hill, the fire brigade, everything they done gone.
Cyrus said upon his return to his destroyed home, he occupied the empty open space of his neighbor and slept in the cold. He said neighbors were worried, wanted to know if he perished in the fire.
I know it, how good people still living. A friend in America have a little downstairs. He sent message, tell me I could stay in the downstairs here. Other neighbors tell me I could come and buy them but and get food. I never accustomed to that. I live by myself. Me and my son. And that you the son, he just say that you know nothing of me. We're going on with my situation right now. Yeah. But anything from after that, the COVID, anything come, I used to do it. Yeah. Even cleaning the street, if you want me to clean the street, I will do it.
For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
Motorists across St. Vincent and the Grenadines will see a slight decrease in the prices of petroleum products this week. So said Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on WeFM's Issue at Hand program on Sunday, when he said it is good to see that after the Ministry of Finance's assessment of the 3-month rolling average of these products, which include gasoline and diesel, that their prices can be reduced.
Significant numbers, but it's good to see after the 3-month rolling average, you make the assessment the Ministry of Finance gave it that it's coming down a little. I just want to explain, we have introduced this method, which, many years ago, when the price goes up, it stays up. And the people, the public didn't get the benefit of it coming down when it comes down. But we do it in this way that when it goes up, it goes outside. Externally, it goes up here in the 3-month rolling average. Comes down, it comes down. Yeah. And what we do, we have the mean of Caribbean posting, the way that you construct the price. So with the 3-month moving average, you put freight and insurance, you put the excise tax, the custom service charge, the company's margin, and the retailer's margin. That's how you do it.
Yes.
It's not a mystery to it, we work it out.
Explaining how the gas prices are being monitored and sometimes increased, the Prime Minister said that it is no fault of his government that the petroleum products are being increased locally.
That when somebody complains if it goes up, that Ralph raised the price. It's not me. We have a formula. And it's not a good policy to go and subsidize the fuel. In fact, it's a bad idea.
Yes.
It's something which you have to use very carefully because it's an expensive imported commodity. The only time we did some subsidy of it, you may recall, is in the period for about a year or so after certainly several months. Remember June, July 2008 when the price went up internationally. The crude oil went up to $147.50 US per barrel. And by the time that reached down to us, the price had gone past $16.
On October 1st last year, motorists began paying $14.74 for a gallon of gasoline at the pump, while the price for low sulfur diesel was $11.20 a gallon and high sulfur diesel went for $11.25. 37 Vincentian students departed home. That should be 37 students departed St. Vincent and the Grenadines last Wednesday to pursue studies at the University of Wales, Trinity St. David in the United Kingdom. These students are a part of the first group selected for the scholarship program that is in its first year. St. Vincent and the Grenadines was granted 55 scholarships from the university. 40 of the scholarships are face-to-face delivery and 15 are online. Speaking on radio on Sunday, Prime Minister Gonzalez said 37 of the 40 scholarship recipients who will engage in face-to-face learning at the UK university left the state on Virgin Atlantic Airlines and that the other 3 scholarship recipients were unable to leave on Wednesday for different reasons.
The 40, didn't go for 3 different reasons. One declined, and the time was too short for that person to be replaced. Second is recovering from COVID and would join later. And the third is pregnant and will join later.
Okay.
Of course, those 2 are still continuing to do their work online. And meanwhile, the other 15, those who are doing graduate degrees, they're continuing. Now, they're continuing online, which is really where, remember we had said we wanted the graduate students to do their work entirely online because I wanted those to go to persons who are here, those persons who are working, so that they don't have to get leave. For instance, if they're in government, Cecil and Pigeon and Lansford, you know this. If they get leave, you have to pay them the whole year while they're away and have a replacement for them. And you have to pay that replacement too. So to avoid costs all around and to do it sensibly and use the technology now.
Yes.
And particularly the subject areas are those amenable to doing their graduate degree online.
Prime Minister Gonzalez expressed happiness for the scholarship program with the University of Wales, noting that he will be visiting the university soon.
Be about that because 40 scholarships, you're talking about £4.5 million. And I want yet again to thank His Royal Highness Prince Charles, Prince of Wales. I want to thank the Vice Chancellor and the University of Wales, Trinity St. David, which is quite a good school and one which has long been established. I'm hopeful that sometime during the period of the academic year I can get to go and see them. I have to go to Dubai for the 14th of February And I don't know when I'm passing through England whether I'm going to have that opportunity to get to go and see them, but I'll try and see how best I can to do that. If not, then on another occasion, because they're going to be there for 3 years. But I want to do it as soon as possible, see how they're settling in, to meet the administration at University of Wales Trinity St. David, and for us to keep an ongoing relationship to see if we can have more and more scholarships now, and see what modalities we can work out in those respects. So that's good news, you know. And as I didn't go myself because I was tied up to see the students off. I would have liked very much to have gone.
Over the next 3 years, the undergraduate students will undertake studies in the UK in the areas of civil engineering, early years education and care, English and history, English with education studies, health, nutrition and lifestyle, international development and global politics, history with economics, and quantity surveying. The areas of study offered were in keeping with the government's national training priority and sustainable development goals. The students' departure was witnessed by their families and friends, as well as Chief Personnel Officer Arlene Regisford-Sam and the Acting Director of Training, Luann Thomas. Vincentians will be afforded the opportunity to help in monitoring and sharing observations of natural hazards and environmental phenomena locally through the Maya's VCT app. The Ready for Use app will be launched on Friday. This was made known by Professor Richard Robertson, who was on radio today speaking of the new application and how persons can play their part in the observation of natural hazards.
Because when you see the river come down, you could have taken a picture, which people currently do. They take a picture and put it on WhatsApp. But what this app does is that it has a process by which the information is sent, and then there's a process of validation to ensure that the information is not spurious, and then it's posted. So in terms of what the app does, it's useful, first of all, to agencies like us, like Seismic, who collect information on hazards, but it's also to agencies like NEMO, who would like to know what's happening out there. It's an application that was developed through a collaboration between the University of West Indies Seismic Research Center ourselves. So it's actually been in development for quite a couple of years. I remember, I think probably over 5 years ago, we've been talking about it.
Explaining the usefulness of the app, Professor Robertson said it is designed to provide scientists at the SRC and emergency managers at NEMO and citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines with first-hand information about a range of natural hazards and environmental phenomena that occur in the country and can be used on all Android phones.
And initially it was really focused on just the volcano. Now it's focused on multiple hazards. So it has the ability to report on floods, on tsunamis, on landslides, on volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. It has a really nice interface that allows you to do that. So Seismic was one of the agencies, and then you had the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, was involved, and then the key agency in terms of external collaborators who was helping us to develop the app was the British Geological Survey, and they were involved largely because the app also is based on something that was used by the BGS and developed by them to track ash in England and in Europe.
In the use of the app, Professor Robertson cautioned persons to be mindful of gathering photos and not to endanger themselves in doing so.
Yeah, the one point I wanted to make, and I forgot that, is that one of the things that you will see constantly in your app is that we constantly tell people, don't put yourself in harm's way to collect information. Right. So constantly there's a message in there that tells you, we don't want people to, for example, now because you have this app, to be going in places and trying to, if there's a fire, go into the fire and take a picture of the fire because you want to put it on the app. We don't want to encourage that. You stay safe, make the observation, and send it to us. Keep yourself safe. And that's kind of what we'd encourage. We want you to safely report on observations that you've seen, whether it is on landslides, storms, flooding, any kind of environmental phenomena you've seen. You might, as I said, there's an option for other observations. So you might be walking in Niveau Mount Nature Trail, and you might make an observation that is not necessarily specifically hazardous. You could actually make a note of it. It might be something that the people at Forestry might find interesting.
Friday's launching ceremony for the new app will take place at NEMO's conference room at 10 a.m. Meanwhile, Professor Robertson said the La Soufrière volcano remains quiet but active. Giving an update on the volcano on radio this morning, Professor Robertson, who heads the UWI Seismic Research Center, said he climbed up to the summit on Sunday and concludes that it remains unstable.
More stable as as rainfall, as more vegetation grows, and we expect that to continue. Hopefully, we expect it to continue to be quiet for many years, and that we don't have to revisit this again. But of course, we always have to be prepared. Says the volcano is something that we have to bear in mind as a hazard that it's going to be there. That at some point in time we'll have to, respond to make sure that we're not in harm's way. It's being monitored by seismic, and NEMO is now beefing up their ability to, and I think they're setting up a unit to deal with it specifically. So you have a lot more local persons involved, and that process is ongoing. But right now, you don't have to worry about it. Enjoy the photographs that you see, and I'll say stay away from the top unless you really have some good energy and some good experience hiking, because the path is still, at least at the top, quite unstable.